Audio Jungle.
Okay, so today's topic has to do with fragments and run-ons. Those are mistakes that we make when we write in English. So I can give you the fragments or the way this topic is divided. So we have fragments, phrase fragments, clause fragments, and run-on sentences. Very quickly, I'm showing you another way to divide these topics in order to take note. First of all, let's begin with fragments. You know that a fragment is just a part of a sentence, so they do not represent a complete thought. And we have a few examples of this. We have five: to hear the orchestra play, listen carefully and happily, the tube in the marching band, the parade coming around the band, and when the band played. These are fragments. If you read them, you will notice that they don't have any idea or or they make no sense at all. What do we have to do with this? We just have to add something. Sometimes it's object, other times we have to add a verb or a complement. We'll start with the first one. Now we have the subject, which is we went to hear the orchestra play. Now it's a complete sentence. On the second one, we listen carefully and happily. The subject was missing in this part. Now we have a plate stuffed with down and tuba in the marching band. Now we have the parade was coming around the band. And finally, when the band played, I didn't recognize the song. This is the way we can turn fragments into complete sentences. Now we have phrase fragments. We know that a phrase fragment is a fragment by itself. It cannot stand alone because it doesn't have either a subject or a verb. And a phrase should not be capitalized or punctuated as though it were a sentence. We have these two examples here. The explorers left for the Arctic, period, on the morning of March 4th. Then we have the explorer left for the Arctic on the morning of March 4th. This one is correct. Why? This is a fragment and it does not have to be capitalized or read as an independent sentence. The best option is to join them and to turn them into a complete thought. We have another example here, which is arriving at the airport, period. The prince and the princess were greeted by cheers. Now, the best form to do this is to gather these two elements. Arriving at the airport is a phrase, so if I'm going to use it at the beginning of the sentence, I need to write a comma and say arriving at the airport, the prince and the princess were greeted by cheers. This is the best way. I'm giving you three more phrase fragments. We have by the conductor, listen to the opera, to play an instrument. This is, as you know, this is a prepositional phrase. We have a participle phrase and an infinitive phrase. So what's the best thing to do with this? I have some suggestions for you, and we have, for instance, the sitting of an orchestra is determined by the conductor. Or listen to the opera, comma, I found myself swept away. Or I'd like to play an instrument. This is all you have to do with this phrase fragment. Now let's talk about clause fragments. If you don't remember this topic, I'm going to give you the description of this video so you can recall. We know that all clauses have subjects and verbs, but some cannot stand alone as sentences. Remember the clauses, they can begin with relative pronouns, for example, that, who, whom, whose, or with correlative conjunctions, just like when, where, when, why. I have two examples here, and we have actually three. We're going to read this that we heard when the orchestra played, and because we wanted to avoid crowds. As you can see, I wrote them in green, something you're going to do in your homework, so I can know what is what. I bought a recording of the music that we heard. Now it's a complete sentence. Or people got up to dance with the orchestra played, or when the orchestra played, remember to write a comma if you begin with a phrase, or in this case a clause. People got up to dance. Or because you wanted to avoid crowds, I can say because you wanted to avoid crowds, we arrived there at the craft fair early. Or whatever the artist produces, people seem to like whatever the artist produces. Now let's continue with run-on sentences. This is more like something we do very often, but we are going to avoid them. That's the aim of this topic. We know that two more complete sentences that are not properly joined or separated are called run-on sentences. I'm going to read this for you. Listen. Elizabeth turned at the sudden noise a bird had crashed in the picture window. As you can see, we don't have any commas or any periods because we actually have two sentences. The first sentence ended after the word noise with a period. Then the second sentence started with a bird had crashed into the picture window. After a period, we need capitalize the letter A. Or I go to concerts of Mozart is my favorite composer. Did you find where the second sentence begins? If you said after concert, you're right. As you know, I go to concerts is one sentence, often Mozart is my favorite composer is another sentence. So we need capitalization. And obviously the end marks, in this case the period. On the other hand, we had with commas and conjunctions. I baked the cake this morning. I have not frozen it yet. Why is this incorrect? Listen. After a comma, I need a conjunction at least to use a comma. Otherwise, I need a period. The best way to do this is to say I baked the cake this morning, but I have not frosted it yet. Or just write a period and say I have not frosted it yet. On the second example that we have here, a clarinet has an almost cylindrical tube. An oboe has a conical pipe. Once again, I need a conjunction if I'm going to use comma. The conjunction that I use in these sentences is but. So the best form to say it is a clarinet has an almost cylindrical tube, but an oboe has a conical pipe. These exercises were written for you to do them in class. I'm going to read them all, to study math, having gone there, lost in the park, about the other day. My suggestion for you was to write, for example, to study math is difficult, or having gone there was a mistake, or the dogs were lost in the park, or about the other day, let's say nothing happened. More exercise here is with clause fragments. Who came to the city when the concert ends, before midnight, near the church. Suggestions: he was the singer who came to the city, will go home when the concert ends, before midnight when the movie will have been ended, or we filmed near the church, or we saw the fireworks near the church. This is basically the topic we were supposed to see this week. So this is all for all. I hope you have understood these topics. If not, you can write to me through WhatsApp if you want it, just in case you have any questions. So I'll see you next time. Bye.